Howdy folks, and welcome to another episode of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly in World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. And we're going to kick things off in style with Origin in the Matilda in a tier 6 match. So yeah, it's not going to be one of those Matilda replays here on Westfield. This game had all the hallmarks of being an epic fail right from the start. There's an OI experimental on Origin's team. It's just announced his intention to attempt to jump the gap on the bridge. In his OI experimental. I can do it, he says. This tank will do 40 kilometers per hour. I'm pretty sure his tank is going to go significantly faster than 40 kilometers per hour when he fails to make the gap and ends up plummeting to his death, several hundred meters below. But he's not alone. Other tanks are convinced that they can also jump the gap on the bridge. What is it about the bridge on Westfield? Is it just one big idiot magnet? Well, we shall see. There goes the OI. Cromwell rushing up the hill there. He's going to have a go as well. But leading the way, yep, that's an Su-85I. Well, he's fairly light, and he's going pretty quick. He may be in with a chance if he hits the bridge at the right angle. Let's have a look and see how he does. There he goes. There he goes. There he goes. Nope, not even close. So, there goes the first idiot. And here comes the OI experimental, weighs 10 times as much and isn't as quick. If the Su-85I couldn't do it, he is never going to do it. Here he goes. And not even close. But he survives. Or at least he does until the Cromwell has a shot and almost manages it. Falls to his death. Lands on top. Lands on top of the OI experimental and kills him. So, the Westfield Bridge has claimed its first 3 idiots. The team is now down 3 tanks, and the enemy team haven't killed anybody yet, although that situation is soon going to change, and poor Origin in the Matilda is despairing that he's ever going to get his first win of the day in this tank. Oh, Jingles, you old misery guts, they're just having fun. Are people just not allowed to have fun in World of Tanks anymore? Well, it's not that I'm against having fun, but do it in a training room. I mean, that's what training rooms are for. This is a random battle. It's not all about you, Princess. There are other people on the team who want to win, because that's what random battles are for. But there's just something about the bridge on Westfield that inspires people to, well, do shit like this. They're not done yet, by the way. Panzer III over there just killed himself pointlessly as well. Equally convinced that he could cross the gap. Except that's a 2-span gap. That's the longest gap. If you're going to do it from the other side, where you actually have a chance. Oh my god. Yeah, when the brains were being dished out, the Panzer III was definitely bending over, tying his shoelaces at the time. So, they've lost 8 tanks, and the enemy have only killed 4 of them. 4 tanks suicided. A quarter of the team have just thrown their tanks away for no good reason whatsoever. Origin, are you ever going to get a win in this Matilda with teams like this? Actually, yes. The scores are 5-8. Origin starts shooting up a Jagdpanzer. Scores some damage. Takes a hit from the flank. Oh, cheeky little AMX ELC. Tries to put a shot into him. Starts taking fire from the other side of the bridge. Scores are up to 8-9 now. Can't quite nail that guy. Gets one good shot into him. And then something finishes him off. Not entirely sure what. But the scores are 8-10. 9-10. The Jagdpanzer looks like he's in trouble. One more hit and he's gone. And there we go. The Jagdpanzer's dead. The scores are even. The enemy team pull back another kill. Scores are 10-11. Hellcat on the hill resets the cap. Scores another kill. Scores are even. 11-11. Watch out for the ELC behind you, Mr. Hellcat. Hellcat takes a hit. Another 2 enemy tanks killed. Scores are 13-11. There are only 2 enemy tanks left. We know exactly where one of them is. AMX-40 down in the cap circle. Taken out. Just the ELC left. So, there you have it. Apparently the key to success on Westfield is the team which has the most tanks suiciding pointlessly at the start of the match wins every time. Welcome to World of Tanks. Question time. Does anybody have the Raider medal? Does anybody even know anybody who has the Raider medal? It's one of the most rare and sought after medals in World of Tanks. In order to win the Raider medal, you have to 100% cap the enemy base and remain undetected the entire battle. So obviously you're going to need something small, quick and stealthy. A light tank, for example. Of course, if you don't happen to have a spare light tank lying around, you could always try it in the Oni. That's right, this is a tank that is so big it can be seen from orbit. It is so massive that shots just fired into the same postcode as this tank have a 50% chance of hitting it. It weighs just over 100 tons, and it has a top speed of 25 kilometers per hour. How the hell do you get a Raider medal in this thing? Well, with a whole bunch of help from the enemy team, 0314 Sniper here from the BB Gun Clan is going to show us exactly how you do it. Remember, the key here is to not be detected, so it does actually help if you're in a tank that can only do 25 kilometers per hour on good terrain, and over here at the western end of the Karelia map it's anything but good terrain. Secondly, you really do need the enemy team to cooperate. Pick yourself an enemy team who send every single tank they have all down the same side of the map, and then be on the other side of the map. On the off chance that anybody with a working brain exists on the enemy team, they may send somebody over once they realise that this entire flank is completely wide open, in which case you're in a slow tank, it doesn't matter. They're definitely not going to see you first. They're going to run into the T-54, or the Challenger that have zoomed up ahead of you and are now sweeping into the enemy base. And oh, there we go, Panther 2 has come back to defend. And he's not alone, there's an Indian Panzer with him. Now, given that every single tank on the enemy team has all gone down one side of the map, and your team only has about half a dozen tanks down there, those guys had better be good. This is one of those situations where you really do need your team to carry you to victory. Note that Sniper here isn't actually trying to get a Raider medal, he wants to kill some tanks. That's what the gun on top of the turret is for, but he also recognises that the situation down at the southeastern end of the map is pretty dire. So he's gonna have to cap whether he wants to or not, otherwise there's a fairly good chance this team's gonna lose. Credit to the team though, they saw the big slow heavy coming up behind them and they left him to cap while they rushed down to head off anybody on the enemy team coming back to try to intercept. And Sniper doesn't want to cap, but he's not stupid, he knows he's going to have to. So he sits in the cap circle, and it almost goes wrong when the Panther M10 comes up the middle of the valley. And this is the only shot he fires the entire game. That's it. That's the only time he pulls the trigger and does any damage in this game. But he did not get detected when he fired. And so that is how you get a Raider medal, by capping the enemy base to 100% and remaining undetected the entire battle in one of the biggest and slowest tanks in World of Tanks. Anyway, what time is it? Oh look. It's KV2 o'clock. Dimmerless in the KV2 on Winter Ruinberg, or Winterberg, as I believe the fashionable set are calling it this season. This tank is utterly ridiculous, and therefore heaps and heaps and heaps of fun. The 152mm gun with high explosive shells has 86mm of penetration with high explosive, and does 910 alpha damage. While he's just obliterating his first target, there we go. One shot fired, one kill. We're going to be keeping score. Tier 10 tank destroyers only have 750 average damage. Actually, Jingles, the Jagdpanzer E100... Oh, shut up. You know what I mean. The balancing factors, of course, are the horrific accuracy, but 2 shots fired, 2 kills. Yeah, the horrific accuracy. On paper, the KV2 should not be able to hit the side of a barn from the inside. And yet you have games like this. Because the KV2 is a special tank. The KV2 has shells that are guided by the hand of Stalin. Stalin himself reaches up from the depths of hell, providing you have sent enough dissidents to the Gulag, and guides your shot to the target. Well, I don't know, you explain the accuracy of the KV2 then, because that's all I've got. So, yeah. Wow. And it takes forever to reload as well. But that's only really an issue, certainly when you're in a tier 6 match in the KV2, that's only really an issue when you've got more than one tank shooting at you. Because when you're in a KV2, all it takes is one shot. Now, the enemy team are capping. They've got an ARL-44 sitting in the cap circle, and he's busy hogging all of the base capture points. And Dimulus is trying to get a shot at him, but all you can really see is this guy's gun barrel. And, well, Hand of Stalin or not, that's just going to be a waste of a shot. But there is that enemy KV2 over there, and he has been spotted. And remember, the only thing that can kill a KV2 is another KV2. Boom! Headshot! 860 damage on another KV2. Well, if you're going to die, at least it's at the hands of a KV2. I mean, you know, there is that scant consolation, though it may be. Anyway, what about that cap situation? It's not looking too good, is it? There's tanks on the left, there's tanks on the right. See that SU-100? Remember, that's the first tank that he spotted in this game. Bear that in mind for when we come to the end of this match. Now, what about that SU-85? 350 health and 45mm of armour. 86mm of penetration and 910 average damage. Here he comes. We'll just pre-aim ahead of him. And it's not fully aimed, but oh, what the hell. Stalin reaches up from the grave and claims another victim. 4 shots fired, 4 kills. Still need to reset that bloody cap, though. The ARL's been killed, but somebody else is in there piling up the cap points. Dimulus has a look at the map, and he spots the last known location. Where he's pinging the map there, that Hellcat. Now, if the Hellcat's coming to take the pressure off the cap... Oh, T-67, damn it. T-67 spotted him, so... If the Hellcat is coming down that road, he knows he's here now. So, okay, that's blown that plan. Cromwell does not look like he's having a very good day. They're down by 2 tanks, scores are 8-10, scores are 8-11, they've just lost another one. Oh, hello. A Sherman 3, it's the British Sherman. And he knows exactly what to expect if he pokes his nose through that tiny little gap with a KV2 pointing his gun at him. And, yeah, no, don't think so. Friendly T-34, although he does look like a stock T-34 with the first turret and the stock 76mm gun, goes in to engage the Sherman. Dimulus was originally thinking about going around and coming up on the Sherman from the other side, but then he changes his mind when he spots the T-67 coming up around behind the T-34. T-34 and Sherman blazing away at each other. He's waiting for the T-67 to come out across the road, but he doesn't. He stops on the corner because he can shoot and kill the T-34 from there. But then he does come out. And it only takes 1 shot. 5 shots, 5 kills. But now he's in a bit of a tricky situation. There's an M7 shooting at him from over there. There's a Matilda 4 shooting at him from over there. And there's a T-67 shooting at him from over here. Okay, the M7, never going to penetrate him. The Matilda, pinned down by his buddy in the Sherman Jumbo. So let's kill the T-67. He is the biggest threat. 6 shots, 6 kills, there's his top gun. And apparently, aiming is for noobs. So, the M7 has bounced every single shot he fired at the turret of this KV2. But you never know, maybe the next shot will be the magic bullet. Oh, then again, yeah, maybe not. So, just the Matilda and the SU-100 left. And we have no idea where the SU-100 is, but surely he's got to be heading in this direction. It's also worth pointing out that Dimulus and his platoon mate in the Sherman Jumbo are not the only 2 tanks left on the team. They also have a Valentine Archer, but he has been about as much use as tits on a fish. He moved 50 metres from the spawn, and then sat there for the first 7 minutes of this game, and he's only now just moved, but he's moved away from where the fighting's going on. He's now up there in the village, on the far eastern end of the map, and the fighting is going on down here in the western end of the map. The SU-100 has just nailed the Jumbo. Who needs to aim when you're in a KV2? 8 shots, 8 kills. That Matilda's got to be sweating bullets around about now. The Matilda's a tough little tank, but it's only a tough little tank when it's top tier. And this is a tier 6 game. And the Matilda's a tier 4 tank, so no. Oh, there he is. Oh, come on, Dimulus, at least make it look like you're trying to aim. People are going to be saying this tank's overpowered. 9 shots, 9 kills. Randy Walters medal. Carrying the team to victory, 1 KV2 at a time. Well, anyway, we're going to finish off this episode of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly with an absolute monster of a game in a Soviet Tier 10 tank destroyer. A high-tier match. I don't show too many high-tier matches lately. We're going to fix that, don't worry. This is Pompous Magnus in the Object 268, Soviet Tier 10 tank destroyer. He's on the Mines map, which is not... It's not the worst map in the world in which to be in this machine, but there are better maps. Still, he does at least have very good frontal armour, and it's all the sloping. The Object 268 was based on the chassis of the T10 heavy tank, which you know in World of Tanks as the IS-8, although I believe they're actually going to rename it to the T10 in an upcoming patch. But this is basically the tank destroyer version of the IS-8, except it doesn't have a 122mm gun. It has a 152mm gun. And unlike the BL-10 gun, which you got before this thing on the Object 704, this thing is accurate. Although, you know, we've already established there's accuracy, and then there's Russian accuracy. But this thing is accurate, 0.33 accuracy. And he would totally have gotten that T-49 if, you know, anybody had spotted him before he came up over the edge of that ramp. The AMX 1390 that's gone up into the middle there is going to die. Unfortunately, that's just the way World of Tanks starts drawing vehicles. Is he going to get this? Yep, that'll be an affirmative. Obviously, his position given away when he fired through the bushes, and there are 2 very big and nasty artillery in play on this map, so he's ducking up behind the rocks there, hoping it's going to keep him safe, or at least... Oh, there it is, there's the shot from artillery. His platoon mate in the Leopard 1 there also realising that he couldn't hang around after he'd fired. E75 up there in the bushes, taking the hit instead. Well, he didn't even take the hit. It shaved off a chunk of his health and blew his tracks off and damaged whatever else knows modules on him. And it didn't even hit him. That's high-tier artillery for you. It's so inaccurate, and it takes so long to aim and so long to fire that in order to make it useful, you have to give it big splash damage. It's probably the T92. Although, then again, the shots seem to land close enough to the E75 that if it had been the T92, we would have lost a lot more health than that. So, more likely it was the 212A. And the E75's had enough of that. He's not camping those bushes anymore. He's headed off to try to skirt around behind the rest of the enemy team. Oh, that was a useful shot. Very nice indeed. This thing has 303mm of penetration with its regular armor-piercing ammunition, by the way. It's absolutely ridiculous. Is he gonna... No. He hasn't been spotted, which is nice. But the map situation is not looking good at all. The enemy team completely dominate the battlefield. They've got the middle of the map, and they're threatening to push around in the... Oh, hang on, hang on, hang on. Yeah. Oh, look at that damage roll. Wow. 887 damage with a 750 alpha damage gun. Why does that never happen to me when I'm in my T30? That's got 750 alpha damage, and it always seems to roll low. I shall write a letter of complaint to Victor Kisley at once. Oh, sheesh. Yeah, he fell that one. He's racking up the kills here, but he's not killing anything big, is he? He's been shooting up the light tanks and the tier 8 mediums so far. He needs to start killing some of those tier 10s, or even the tier 9s. Doesn't have a shot at him. And speaking of tier 10s, here we go, E50M. But he rushes the shot and he completely blows it. He has, of course, given his position away, and his team have just lost a pair of E75s in rapid succession. The team's number 2 platoon has now been completely wiped out. They're losing 4-5. And the enemy team still dominates the centre of the map. He's trying to get the gun pointed at this E50M, and he has to take into account that artillery, having seen him fire and miss, is probably going to be waiting for him to have another go. Side of the E50M's turret, another good damage roll. Spotted again. Backs off down the hill. His buddy in the IS-4 coming around. That leaves the T-95 anchoring the other corner around the far side of the hill. And with the IS-4 moving up, he pushes forward to support him. His platoon mate in the IS-4 takes a shot at and hits the T-49. The E50M, realising the IS-4's just fired, comes out looking for a shot. Oh, God. Well, that was a waste. Although, not completely, because he did blow the tracks off the E50M, and he delayed repairing the tracks long enough that his platoon mate in the IS-4 could come out and finish him. He bounces a shot from this enemy IS-4. He aims for the cheek armour, which would have been the best place to shoot that IS-4 at that angle, but the shot went low and buried itself in the IS-4's tracks, and he takes a hit as he's pulling back, waiting to reload. His buddy in the IS-4, however, is not hanging around. So, there we go. Much, much better shot. Not enough to kill the enemy IS-4, but it's left him on a sliver of health. Unfortunately, his buddy in the friendly IS-4 is now... Oh, what's going on here? Oh, this is not good. Okay. T-57, pulling back to reload. His buddy in the IS-4 is completely ignoring the LTTB. And he's focusing down that T-57. And the LTTB is completely ignoring the Object 268 that's just roving up his backside. What's going on? Anyway, IS-4's determined to try to kill this T-57 Heavy, but no, not going to happen. But just watch this Batchat. Batchat comes out, okay, he takes a hit, fairly inevitable, but he keeps going around, and he's got a full clip of premium high-explosive anti-tank ammunition loaded. One bounces, one penetrates, third one bounces. Why would you reverse out in front of the Object 268's gun? You'd made it around the side of the tank. And then he reversed out in front of his gun. Takes a hit from the T-57 Heavy, and before he can pump a second shot in, gets saved by the friendly artillery. Nice save, artillery. Well done. Now, you noticed earlier on, he kept checking around behind him when they advanced up here with the IS-4. What was happening to the T-95? Ooh, artillery missed him, which is always nice. The T-95 was left to hold that flank against, at the time, a Tiger II, but then this E-100 turned up and killed that T-95, but he's hit the E-100 once, the E-100's returned fire and missed, and you're going to beat the E-100's reload, and he's trying to angle the armour, but there's no. That was never in any doubt. So it's 3 each. Enemy team have 2 artillery, and he's, speaking of artillery, artillery did take a shot at him on the corner and missed, but there are 2 artillery in play on the enemy team, so he waits, taking cover, waits to disappear off the map, and then he pokes out, and 2.7 second aiming time, you need to make this hit. So he makes it hit. And he's back to where he started. Ducking in around the corner, trying to avoid return fire from the 212A and the T-92. Well, I say trying to avoid fire from the T-92. And yeah, that was definitely the T-92. Look at that. How much did that miss him by? That's almost a complete tank width away from him, and it still took a quarter of his health off, destroyed his tracks, and knocked out his vision device. That's the T-92 for you. Well, just the 2 enemy artillery to deal with, and it's going to be really, really hard to lose at this point, because surviving on his team are 2 tank destroyers. Object 268 has a good camouflage rating, and the Rheinmetall Borsig over there, well, you know what kind of cloaking device that thing has. So all they really need to do here is spot those 2 enemy artillery for their own artillery. That would be the safe thing to do. I mean, they are in a pair of stealthy tank destroyers after all, but Pompous Magnus is not interested in letting friendly artillery get the kills. He has 7 kills here. So he's got a Radley Walters medal with 1 more kill, and here it comes. There we go, 1 Radley Walters. But if you have a look at how many kills the rest of his platoon have, the IS-4 has 2, the Leopard 1 has 1, so that's 11 kills. You get 1 more, and it's a crucial contribution. Just the T-92 to kill, and he obviously thinks, I mean, that's a fairly predictable spot for the T-92 to be hiding in. But is he? The Borsig has gone up to try and root him out. And he's not actually behind that rock. There he is. Oh, Borsig. Don't die, Borsig. Oh, sheesh. Right, and Borsig was very, very lucky to escape with just that much damage. I mean, you saw what the T-92 is capable of doing. When it lands a shot 6-7 meters away from you, it took a quarter of Pompous Magnus's health off. So the Borsig, that was a really narrow escape for him. And Pompous Magnus knows that the Borsig is not going to, no, he's not going to chance it again. And he's basically racing against his own artillery to get the kill on this T-92. Now, I do firmly believe that if you're going for an epic medal, you should earn it. You shouldn't have it given to you. But there's absolutely no harm in asking your team politely. And if they agree, well, fair play to them for being good sports. But if they say no, and they take the kill, well, it's a competitive game after all. But in this case, he had a team of good sports. And to be honest, I do think that he deserved the crucial contribution and the Radley Walters medal. And that's not the only thing he got out of this match. Have a look at this screenshot showing him at the beginning of the match. Count the number of marks of mastery on the gun barrel of his Object 268. 2. This is the match that earned him his 3rd mark of mastery. And there they are, along with an ace tanker, a Radley Walters, a crucial contribution, a high caliber, and a Top Gun. Not a bad result. And 97,000 credits, 2,277 experience, and that's not doubled for the first win of the day. How much damage do you think he did in the course of this game? If your guess was 10,000, well, you're not too far off the mark actually. 9,200, and over 600 assistance damage. He almost lost money out of that match, however, despite earning almost 100,000 credits, because he fired 7 rounds of high explosive anti-tank premium ammunition, and also because this is a tier 10 tank destroyer and they're just not profitable machines unless you do monstrous amounts of damage and don't use premium ammunition. If he'd been running a standard account, not a premium account, he would have lost nearly 30,000 credits on that match result. But he runs a premium account, so he just scraped by with a 5,000 credit profit. Yeah, tier 10 games in World of Tanks. You don't do it for the love of money. So anyway, that was Pompous Magnus bringing this episode of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly to a close with a crucial contribution, a Radley Walters, and over 9,000 damage in the Object 268. I hope you enjoyed today's video, folks. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.